If you're an audio fanatic like me, or just thinking about how to upgrade how you're listening to music or podcasts, you have to know about Victrola. They have been bringing innovation and style together since 1906. I'm going to tell you about one of their products that I got called the Journey Plus. It's a great sounding Bluetooth speaker and record player that's affordable and can link to my other Bluetooth speakers. It sounds so good, and now it sits on top of my old record player. They have over 30 different color options, so it fits in any room of the house. And of course, I got mine wrapped in denim. If you've ever seen us perform live, you know about my obsession with wrapping guitars and other stuff in denim. But they already did it for me. Right now, to show off their online record store, they're having special savings like free shipping on orders over $35 or more, as well as a great deal of 15% off if you buy 3 records from their record store. I got the new Run the Jewels record. I got a Stone Temple Pilots Holland import. They have tons of stuff on there, so make sure to check it out. So go to makingnoisepod.com/Victrola for your savings. That is makingnoisepod.com/VICTROLA for your special offers today.
3, 5.
Now we're rolling.
Now you're rolling?
Mm-hmm.
I got to ask you a question, Todd.
Okay.
I can't even reach.
What?
Oh my God, it's heavy. I can't even reach it. Will you explain this to me?
Okay.
Like, what's up with this? I mean, did you not use all your ones when you went to the strip club last night?
Let's redo this. Let me say hello, welcome to.
Are you sure you just don't want to just jump into this with me? Just fade in, Jay holding a fucking big ass wallet. You got a back problem?
Yeah. So when I was playing last night, this kid kept coming over and giving me ones.
Giving us ones?
I was at a show at a brewery. This wasn't at the strip club.
Okay.
But dude, this
Where was the kid getting the ones from, Todd?
So his mom
His mom was... Okay, wait a minute. So the kid's mom was giving the kid ones to come give to you?
Yes.
Did you check all of them for phone numbers?
No. Actually.
You might want to do that. You never know.
I usually don't get them on the dollar bill. I usually you know when there's a phone number crumpled up in there when you get one like this, because then there's like a half a napkin hanging out of it or something like that. I've never called anybody who's given me a number by tip for it. No.
Okay.
And that doesn't. It's not like that happens. Every show or anything. Anyway, no, I didn't think about the fact. I just think.
It doesn't happen every show, but
no. Oh God, no! It hadn't happened it's a very big rarity. The best one I ever got was one that said, someone wrote me a letter on a napkin that said, "Dear bass player."
Dear bass player.
And it was like a front and page.
Did it start with like, "Why don't you play guitar?"
I feel like you're out of your element right now. You're not doing a very good job of hitting the 1 and the 5s. No, it was just a kid who just kept wanting to it was fun for him to. I mean, he was like 3, and I enjoyed it because I got to walk away with some money. So, but yeah, I think she broke this is like 40s and 1s.
Did you ride with that home in your pocket?
Yeah.
How's your back feeling?
Oh, it's great. No, this is a front pocket wallet.
Oh, is that your wallet in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Hey man, this has all the money I have to my name.
I bet it does. Hey baby, you want to see all my money?
You want to be very impressed with me right now? Yeah, so I'm not going to the strip club. Though, I mean, it's COVID times. Are strip clubs open?
I don't know.
Could you imagine?
I mean, she's wearing a mask.
What?
But that's it.
How do you go to a strip club with social distancing?
I mean, somebody's got to rub that hand sanitizer everywhere. You know what I'm saying?
Oh. So on a completely different note.
And now for something completely different.
Our guest today is a comedian who performs regularly around the Southeast and a local favorite at the Comedy Zone here in Charlotte. We had a blast when she was here. This was so much fun.
Just so funny.
Yeah, she's so funny. This is Joy Wills.
So back in my first weird cellular job, I sat in a room all day and waited for people to come in, like a storefront and sell them. But I had a lot of time to browse the internet, and it was like I was obsessed with buying a bottle of absinthe. Like real absinthe, not like weak ass absinthe I could get in the U.S. So I bought a bottle from like Yugoslavia and had it like sent over, and like had to wait like 3 weeks for it to show up, and I was afraid it wasn't gonna get through customs because it had like wormwood oil in it.
Was it worth the wait?
Oh man, that's pretty good. Like I bet I had that bottle for, it was a wine bottle, so it was a little bit bigger than a wine bottle size. Okay. It was more than 750 milliliters. And I bet I had that bottle for more than 2 years because I couldn't drink that much of it at a time.
That makes you, that's how you know it's real, because you can't drink a lot of absinthe.
I've still never had it, like legit had. I've kind of wanted to, but I've never had it.
Like, dude, I had the slotted spoon. I would pour I'd light the sugar on fire and pour the stuff over and melt it in there.
Oh my god!
Swirl it up. And
serious?
And it would and like.
So what's the difference as far as like what you can get in the States versus?
So Thujon, wormwood oil has a substance in it called Thujon, and Thujon is a psychedelic. and
okay.
So
I didn't know that.
So most of what we would get in the U.S. would have like maybe 100 milligrams of Thujon per part.
So, okay.
But like original absinthe, like the shit that made Van Gogh cut his ear off because, you know, he drank so much of it and it made him crazy. That was more like 500, 600 milligrams of Thujon per gram, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
So the one that I was able to order from Yugoslavia had like 300. Okay. And that was like the strongest shit I could find.
You gotta cook sugar and like, are you making heroin like this?
Yeah, it's just like making heroin, man. You get the spoon and you light it. No, so it's the main flavor is anise seed in there, so it's very bitter.
Anise seed.
Anise seed.
How is that spelled?
ANISE.
Oh, okay.
Not anise seed.
Okay.
Anise.
Okay.
Like what's licorice? Like licorice candy kind of. It's very licorice.
Okay.
So you need the sugar in there to kind of warm that up, make it taste better. And traditionally they would light it on fire.
Yeah.
And then dump it in there, kind of, you know, because it's it's theatrical, I guess. It's some like crazy Oscar Wilde reading son of a bitch was like, this is a great idea.
Gotcha.
You know, and you would drink it and make you kind of drunk, kind of crazy.
Sweet.
Yeah.
I know what we're doing for the next podcast.
Absinthe. I mean, if I'd have known we could have done absinthe shots today, it would have been interesting.
Oh man,
wow.
that would have been. Yeah, it would definitely be interesting going back and editing this. So Jay, we have a gift for you.
Yes, we do.
For
we have
me?
a gift for you.
We do. Yes, I think we'll explain as we go. But yes, we have a gift for you.
Do you want me to open this now?
Sure.
Yes, you have to open it on the. This is the point.
So-
You have
Yes.
to open it on the podcast.
Yeah. I guess that makes sense. Oh, wow.
So
A reed diffuser.
yes.
Yes.
Oh, that's so
Becau-
nice. This is like a real gift. I thought y'all were going to this was Ashton Kutcher. You were going to punk me with something like that.
Well, wait till you open it.
Well, no. Well, yeah.
Like, this is-
We shrink wrapped actually
Yeah.
dog poop in there. No. Okay.
That's
So
what reed, yeah.
So Jay had a great idea because the first time we heard you do stand up, Jay had a great idea. Well, I'll just let Jay say it. Talk about the.
So the first time we heard you.
Oh, I do.
You got a bit.
Now we're getting it. You had a bit.
I do. My Uber joke when I talk about the lavender scented diffuser.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. That is so nice. I must have done that for y'all like a year ago.
Yeah.
It was definitely a while ago.
It was more than a year ago.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because
Oh
it was
my
that
gosh.
first time we met you.
Yeah.
Right.
Which was a very interesting evening.
By the way, every time I've met you, I feel like it's always been an awkward situation in a way, but you've never been awkward. Does that make sense? Like it's always been like just so weird because like that night I was filling in for Lisa DeNovo at Heist.
Heist Brewery and Barrel Arts.
Yes. And y'all showed up and wanted to do the open mic, and it was very much set up as a music open mic. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And you had that, and you were fantastic.
Well,
you
thank
were great.
you.
And then you also came with a friend who
Normal Dennis.
Normal
Yes.
Dennis, and he was like, you know, what would be great is if Jay plays saxophone with me.
Worked
Jay
great
was-
for me.
It was so good. It
Yeah.
it heightened the entire thing.
It definitely did, yeah. And I think Jay afterwards was like, man, I just didn't know what to do. I'm like, you did great.
Yeah, I just made weird sounds because he was making weird jokes. And
he would he is so theatrical, and that's why
Yes.
I love him, because my stuff is very much the polar opposite. Like, I'm very dry and things like that. So when he would do a joke and then he'd hit his hand up and point to you, and then you would just play the saxophone. It was so funny. And we didn't know what kind of open mic it was. He texted me and was like, hey, there's a new mic. Do you want to go? And then we got there, and you're playing guitar. We were like, oh, no, this is not.
We're in the wrong boat.
Yeah.
No.
and then there was nobody there.
Yeah,
That's what I felt worse about is like especially for like comedians, like the fact that there's 7 people there. It's towards the end of the night.
Yeah.
It's already starting to wind down. So, but I mean, y'all did great, and it was a lot of fun. And then talking about open mics, I remember there was I don't remember when the open mic at Comedy Zone is, but well, this year it's obviously not. But in my mind, I'm so used to open mics being exactly what that is.
Yeah.
Where it's just like at a bar, and there's a lot of people that are kind of hanging around. And so I was like looking through Facebook one day, and I was like, oh, there's one at the Comedies, and obviously it's at the Comedy Zone. Obviously it's a comedy open mic, but I'd never been to a comedy open mic before.
Yeah.
Never put 2 and 2 together before you showed up.
Well, and I did, in my mind, I'm just so used to what an open mic is. So I thought it was very much going to be that way. It's just like, a bunch of people hanging out at the bar, you can kind of get, and it was very much like, okay, we're going to get you and sit you at your table. And we're very much like a
Yeah.
comedy show. And I was so out of my element, and I won like a trivia thing.
I was about to say, you won like a little popcorn bucket and
Yes.
some stuff.
So I just was like walking around with a popcorn bucket.
The ones at normally open mics are like that. The ones at the Comedy Zone were very different. And I think it was October because I was the resident at that time. So was I
Right.
hosting that night?
Yes, you were
Yes,
hosted.
okay.
Yes. And you did great that night as well.
Thank you. Yeah, those are really fun, and they get through like 15 to 20 people.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really awesome to see how well organized it was, and how committed to everything that it was. It made me, the level of respect for me from the Comedy Zone and everything like that went kind of through the roof of just how like tight and well oiled of a machine it was. But it definitely was for me. I was like, this is great. But I'm now, like, I very quickly realized 20 minutes in, like, oh, I should have called some friends and asked if they wanted to go out.
You didn't ask me, man. What?
I didn't want to hang out with you.
I mean, I don't blame you. I don't want to hang out with me sometimes either.
I don't know why I didn't call you. Honestly, that absolutely would have been something that we would have done.
Hell, you might have. I might have blown you off. Who knows?
We were all going to go, and unfortunately, we missed you.
Yeah,
this
we were
past
going to go
week.
this week, and they canceled it.
Yeah, that was a huge bummer. I mean, I get it. Everyone wants to be safe.
Yeah.
But it's been worse than the days after because I've had so many people tell me that they were going to come, and I didn't even know. I think it was going to be a really good show.
Yeah, it seemed
But
like
we'll
it was.
do it again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The lineup seemed good. And Nina was on there. Nina opened for us for the Mardi Gras gig.
Oh, yeah, that's
really?
right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
She opened for us at Rooftop 210, and she was great.
Yeah.
I felt bad for her too. Another awkward night. We had like 500-600 people there in banana suits.
Wow.
Which was really weird because there was a transfer of another event. And the point of us playing and doing a Mardi Gras event was we were going to keep this banana DJ event that was happening at the Epicenter, keep them at Rooftop.
It's like a bar crawl.
Yeah.
So the point was there was going to be Mardi Gras people coming and then the banana people there. And we're like, this is going to be weird, but sure, let's do this.
But then they made us wait so long to play that all the banana people just left.
Right.
And we were just like, oh, okay. All right,
And
well.
so, like, when Nina got up, it went from, like, just, like, within a 3-minute period, like, a couple hundred people in banana suits to just, like, 15 people at Rooftop, which feels like nobody. And I just, and she did great with the situation for sure. I mean, she handled it like a pro, but it was one of those moments of, like, you build it up, it's like, this is going to be great, and then it just completely, But do you ever, as far as like any events and stuff, because I know that you travel a lot as well.
Yeah, I did for sure.
Right.
Or I tried to, and mostly locally, I'd say in and outside of Charlotte and the Carolinas in general. But I've performed in Atlanta and in Memphis when I go back home. Obviously, it's been few and far between for the past 8 months.
Right.
But I love doing that because you love doing it here and you love seeing people you know in the crowd, but after a while they've seen your stuff quite a few times. And so it's nice to see a fresh audience and also get that reminder that you are funny and it's not just people supporting you. It's nice to have a stranger laugh.
Yeah. Well, that's, is it, so when you're doing a lot of that stuff, is it set up more when you're doing out of town? Is it more at other comedy clubs? Are there like alt venues? Are there different things like that? Like how is it usually set up?
Yeah, it's similar in the fact that it's bars and breweries because some cities, I mean, like us, we have one major comedy club. And unless you go to a much bigger city like Atlanta, Chicago, New York, LA, it's going to be a lot of the same that it is locally here. You're going to go to a brewery and they can still show out. Like I did a show in Atlanta that had 80 people or so, which was really nice.
Yeah.
And then I think I did more of an open mic situation in Memphis, but it still had like 50 people.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the parallels of like, you know, what I know and stuff as far as musicians and being an entertainer in that field. To me, I keep feeling there's so many parallels between comedy, and then obviously so many drastic differences. So I just, you know, I kind of think that's cool as far as the breweries are doing that and bars and stuff like that. Because I mean, at the end of the day, you know, I probably shouldn't say this because it's how I keep my lights on, but, you know, it'd be great if not every single bar, every single brewery, you know, Friday and Saturday night always had a, you know, white guy with an acoustic guitar sitting in the corner playing Wonderwall. You know, it'd be cool to have like, you know, comedy shows or at events like that where it's, people understand they're coming in for something artistic, not just dinner.
And that's normally the biggest difference because you can go into a brewery show where people paid and they know exactly what they're getting, or you could do a brewery show where no one knew and then they're just kind of there for a show and you have to win them over. I mean, both I think are really fun because I like the idea of a challenge, but it can go bad quickly.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you're doing stand-up. Of course you like the idea of a challenge.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear because because I feel that way too when like go and you play a place and I'm setting up and you can just see everyone kind of that's eating dinner or something is just kind of like, what is that? You know, and then you realize like, oh, there's no promotion. There's no nothing. I'm getting ready to like bombard people who are just going out for dinner at a nice restaurant with like, they're just going to be like, okay. And that's the worst when you do that and you set up and you start playing and just like, you see like the two closest tables. So you just go like, leave.
Some of my favorite parts in shows in that kind of situation where people didn't know, because I have a lot of pauses and silences in my set where it's kind of a story and you have to pay attention. And in those moments when I can look around and see everyone kind of looking intently, waiting on what's happening, it's one of my favorite things because I know I have their attention, and that's hard to do. Yeah.
No, that's absolutely it. That's the biggest thing too is holding that attention and running that, because no matter what, it's you're completely in control. It's completely your audience. You know, one of the Chris Rock said a thing that I thought was so great about like entertainers. Like, he's like, I'm in control of my audience. It is completely on me if something happens. If someone gets shot in the audience, it's my job to bring them back around and calm everybody down or whatever and get back in the show. He's like, it's no matter what happens, it's on me. You know, and like that mentality I think is definitely helped me be better than just kind of like, all right, no one really cares that I'm here. I'm just going to play whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree with that. I think that's great as far as kind of jumping on the challenge a little bit. Have you been able to do anything this year? What does that even look like with COVID?
Yeah. No, I mean, the last show I did before all this happened was a show at the Comedy Zone. I opened for Nick Coletti, who was a huge guy. He started on Vine and did a series called The Real Bros of Simi Valley. And then I didn't do anything until I did, I think, 2 virtual shows in July.
Okay.
And then I think I did my first live performance maybe late August, early September. I think early September. And I've done like 5 or 6 since then. I was starting to do more and getting more comfortable, as I think everyone was. And I got to do a really fun event that was at the Fillmore that Live Nation put on. I opened for Jared Freed.
Oh, yeah, I saw about that. That looked awesome.
It was so cool. They repurposed the parking lot and had like 100 people, and it was 2 nights. And I got to do like 30 minutes, which is the most I've done for a huge crowd like that. So it gave me that taste of normalcy, like everything was back how it should be. which is awful to feel now that I just had 2 shows get canceled in a week.
Right.
Because of everything. But it kind of made me realize I can't go that long without, like, I really do love this.
Yeah.
And it's hard not to.
That's great that it kind of gives you the clarity of that. Like as soon as it gets taken away, you're like, nope, this is what I need to do. And you did 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Was that, okay, do you normally do, because I know mics are usually like 5-ish minutes.
Yeah, open mics, you don't get a whole lot of time, but it's for you to work out stuff. And
Right.
to be honest, a lot of people in the audiences at open mic are other comedians. And a lot of them, they've heard your jokes more than anyone. So it's even hard to practice or gauge how to do things then. But for shows before that, I was doing like 15 to 20 tops.
Okay.
Because I mean, you have to put in the work, and people, you have to wait for the opportunity for someone to give you that much time, because
Right.
it's hard to come by.
Yeah.
So that was a huge blessing, honestly.
That's so cool to hear about, like working it out at the mics, whatever. Because I would do that all the time. Like go to like certain ones, especially ones like where you're at the open mic at a brewery where no one cares. I would go to those because like the Evening Muse has a great one on Mondays, but
Yeah.
everyone is super supportive to the musicians, which is good. I think if it's your first time on stage, but like for me, I don't want to go there. I
Yeah.
want to go to the place where they're like, who the fuck is this guy? And then be like, okay, I've got one song, let me work on it. And if I just get kind of like that was like, okay, I need to workshop it a little more.
Yeah.
That's so for 30 minutes, like how, as far as kind of writing that and working that out, how do you kind of process that? Like how long do you feel like it gets to get a good tight 30 minutes?
Well, one, I wouldn't say I have a good tight 30 minutes. Okay. I would say having a tight 30 is so unbelievably hard. And I think a lot of people in this industry are their own biggest critic, and as I am. And so I would say I feel good about all of that material. Don't get me wrong. But I think what's really, really strong is probably 23 to 25 minutes, honestly.
Gotcha.
And the other stuff, writing is my favorite part of it in general.
Okay.
I like smart writing. I like people who put a lot of thought into what they're doing. And so I think it's probably even going to take a little bit longer, but tweaking it, I think, is the most important part. And you can never be satisfied with even jokes that I did when y'all first saw me. I might do the same jokes, but they're definitely different. Little things are different because I think you can always get better.
Right. So does that the more of the writing thing, does that more come from like, are you kind of more someone like you're gonna riff, or are you someone where you're like you've planned it out, then you go to the mic to try it, and then you take it back and workshop it?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like it's
No,
tight
absolutely.
when you get up there.
I almost never riff.
Okay.
I'm not a person who feels super comfortable doing that, or confident, I should say. I think I can do it. I think I am quick on my feet, and I probably don't give myself enough credit. But I come in very prepared to every mic, every show that I'm going to do.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's not the idea of like, this is me with my book. You're just gonna have to wait.
Yeah, I have never brought up like a spiral or a notebook. I don't love that.
Right.
But I think the whole thing about stand-up is that the audience isn't supposed to know you have planned it. They're supposed to feel like you're talking to them or you're hanging out with them.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the biggest tricks to it.
Right. So the writing thing, as you said, as far as like smart writing and loving writing, would you, does that come more from like when you were a kid, were you like, I grew up loving like SNL and things like that. Was that kind of more you, or did you have, like other comedy records or something that you would listen to? Like what was kind of the thing that really got you?
No, I loved SNL. I loved Mad TV, all of that. And I'm the youngest of 6 kids. So I think...
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Just growing up in my household, I was dying for attention almost all of the time, as I still am as a 27-year-old. But I think I always thought very hard about what I was going to say, because if what I said was dumb, everyone was very quick to tell me. Like my siblings were, I love them to death. They're some of my closest friends. Like we're all really close, but they would be like, "Get out of the room! Why would you say that? Why would you speak at this point in time?" So from a very early age, I was conditioned to always think very hard about what I was going to say and make sure it was funny or important or worthwhile for other people around me.
Right. Oh God.
That sounds bad. I love them. I do.
No, it's is great. I'm like, I feel like we probably have the same thing. I'm the youngest too. Not a youngest, a 6, but
I have no brothers or sisters.
Oh, wow.
so he's
Yeah,
completely
0.
different. Everything he did
I
was
can't even
I'm
imagine.
still an attention whore, so like I completely get it.
Well, I mean, we all do what we can to be on stages and have everybody look at us.
Look at me, man.
Exactly.
So the very first time I ever remember like loving the attention was 5th grade. 5th grade. Remember when the Fat Boys did the version of the Beach Boys Wipeout? Remember that song? Anybody? No, no, just me. So we had like this little performing arts thing we did, and we danced, and me and 2 much older guys came up on the stage with like sunglasses and like Hawaiian shirts, and that was not too long after Pee Wee's Big Adventure, and we did the Pee Wee Herman dance.
Sweet.
And like acted a fool, and everybody thought it was hilarious. And I was like,
You were
"Damn,
like-
this is cool,
Yeah.
man!
You're like,
I need to be
done.
up here more often. What can I do?"
That's awesome. What was kind of like a first time when you were young? That's a great thought or something. Like first time when you were younger, where you were like, oh, I like this attention.
Yeah. I guess I would say starting in like 7th grade, I started hosting things for my school. Like I would host a talent show or something, and I got to write the scripts for me and the other guy who was hosting. And when people would love that and I'd get so much praise afterwards, it was just like a drug, and I had to keep doing things like that. And I did it all throughout high school too.
Yeah, that's great. It's funny, like in high school is where really, because there might be little notions of that, especially like being younger. Like you said, like when you say the right thing in your house, and
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I'm going to say this.
Exactly.
As a 5-year-old, you're like, I'm going to say this all the time now. This is my one joke.
Yeah, it's still funny, man.
Yeah.
No.
Knock, knock. Oh, it's going to be I'm going to kill him with this knock, knock
Knock,
joke.
What's the interrupting cow say?
Right. Yeah, God. I had there's a guitar player and his kid would do that all the time. Like every time I go over to his house, and I'd just be like, as soon as you walk in the door, for like a solid year or 2 of his life, and it's like you can't like
Move.
you've got right
Yeah.
exactly
Oh my God.
exactly. You can't just be like, listen here, 5-year-old, you're obnoxious as shit. But
You ever give a kid a finger? Like, ever do that? I've done that before. I'm not gonna lie.
you've given a kid
given
the
a
finger
kid a finger,
to their
man.
face.
Yeah, I sure have. In Toys R Us one time when I was in college.
What?
Yeah.
What? First of all, alarming that you were in a Toys R Us in college.
I was in college.
Let's start that there.
All right, so PlayStation, right? I mean, I was 19, 20, buying a
Do
video,
they
buying a
do
video
they carry
game.
PlayStation?
They did back then,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah, they totally had video games.
Okay, this now starts to explain
Yeah.
a little bit better.
Mario
that was a good
Like
point.
Mario
if that
Kart.
fact checks out, let's don't
Yeah,
get
they
us
Hey,
wrong.
man, why would I lie about Toys R Us?
I mean, there's a pretty good reason right now involving giving a finger to a
Giving the
kid.
finger to a kid.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he shouldn't have been staring at me the way he was.
This is hard.
My
I was just a
God.
20-year-old kid in Toys R Us trying to buy a PlayStation.
I really want you to know you sound like the hero in this story.
I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm very the anti-hero. I know, right? There are people out there everywhere right now that go like, "Fuck, man, I hate kids," and they're like, "I'm always wanted to do that."
Oh no,
Yeah.
it is true. There have definitely been
You certainly
times.
have a team on your side. I don't know if you're on the right side of history here, but
So speaking of like just getting crazy with stupid things, why did you decide to do stand-up? I mean, because it's hard, right? I mean, stand-up is hard.
yeah. No, it definitely is. And I got into improv first, probably 2.5 years ago now, maybe. And this is going to sound super cliche and arrogant, but I had been doing.
I can't wait.
I've been doing so many things in my life, like leading up to. There were like small here and there, and everyone always told me how funny I was. And it got to the point where I would just get mad when people told me I was funny because I wasn't doing anything with it.
Right.
And I felt like I was kind of wasting a talent. So I decided to sign up for a class at Charlotte Comedy Theater, CCT. And I did improv for like 1.5 years before I got into stand-up. And it was the best thing I ever did, honestly. I started with classes there and a stand-up class at the Comedy Zone, too.
Yeah, I don't think that's arrogant at all to be like, I know I have something. I mean, to go with the talent and go. I'm going to work on it.
Yeah.
There's nothing arrogant about that at all. And you've kind of got to be like in any sort of entertainment. You kind of have to have these two ideas, like stand in the middle of the seesaw and never let either side touch the ground. Of like, I am 15 foot tall. I can do anything in the world that I
Yeah.
want to do. And then on the other end of it is like, I suck, and if you can you have to be able to grapple both of those things and be completely confident in yourself and also completely work on it. I don't think there's anything arrogant about saying that at all.
Yeah, I think you have to be confident in stand-up and confident in what you're saying, or else the audience won't be with you. They won't care what you're saying.
Yeah.
But I think there's a huge problem with overconfidence as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, that's where the balance kind of comes in.
Exactly.
But the, you know, and it's one of those things too where, you know, I feel like with comedians, you need to be able to give a little bit of leeway in moments where somebody may have been overconfident or went too hard or went too big, or you know, and you know, if they can step back from that and go, okay, that didn't work, you know, and really examine themselves and bring themselves down a little bit. But yeah, I mean, God, that's across the board with any entertainer. I mean, the last interview we did was with a keyboard player in town. He's fantastic, and we had this massive thing as talking about like musicians that can hang, and it's like somebody could be super talented or anything, but if they're full of themselves, if they can't hang, if they're not, you know, or they're a little nutty, which I mean, we're in an industry where everybody's kind of nutty, you know, so it's like you're probably not gonna call that person back, you know. That is one thing, like with a comedian, that I would imagine being different. That's definitely so tough, is that it's completely on you at any moment. At any moment, I can go like, "Here's Jay on the saxophone," you know. Like I forget the words.
To take over,
Forget the words. Like,
and that's a
do
huge
solo.
difference between improv and stand-up too. I think improv, you have so many people to rely on, and but to a counterpoint, you have to rely on other people. And so I love both. I love doing improv and stand-up, but something that I really loved about stand-up is I knew at the end of the day, if I didn't do well, it was my fault. And I didn't, and I couldn't feel the same at improv. I mean, I could place blame if I wanted to, but stand-up, it was all on me. And I did like that.
Yeah. You know where to fix it.
Exactly. And I can do that myself. And I think you have to be confident, but in stand-up specifically, you have to be vulnerable, which I think is super important, because the audience, they want to laugh at you, to be honest. They
I would agree with that.
When you take jabs at yourself, and it's much harder to get them on your side if you're taking jabs at them or certain people. They have to be like-minded or think like you to do that. So if you're able to be self-deprecating and make fun of yourself, you're much more likely to win them over.
Right. Well, and that's probably where the overconfidence and confidence line is.
Exactly.
Like, you got to be comfortable enough with yourself to jab at yourself, but also, you know, not so underconfident that, like, okay, this person just got on stage and just told us what a shitbag they are,
right.
you know?
That would be my form of comedy. Let me tell you how horrible I am.
Yeah.
I'm a horrible person.
You do. We've talked about that. You do have a very self-deprecating.
Self-deprecating humor at times,
yeah. And like on a serious note, we've talked about it before. I mean, you know, I think you're funny without self-deprecating. I love it when you do, though.
I know, it's so much better. So speaking of having to deal with like weird stuff, have you ever been heckled? You ever had to deal with a heckler?
Yeah, I have, not too often, to be honest, but I did a show in like Fort Mill where there was this guy who had heckled everyone.
He thought he was hilarious then, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I see where this,
I mean, and he was wearing whitewashed jeans, New Balances, like whatever hat, and like a pseudo racing car jacket, but I think it was like off-brand, like there was no certain driver he was supporting.
Axl Rose called. He wants his jeans back.
All driver lighters matter.
It was like Jommy Stewart, something like he got it Goodwill. It was like, it wasn't the actual guy. And I just knew he was going to say something. So as soon as he did, I immediately pointed at him. And can I curse?
Yeah, yeah.
I just pointed at him and I said, "You shut the fuck up."
God. I wish I had that.
I wish that I could get away with doing that at a gig sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest with you, I've literally I've said it under my breath more than once.
I don't know. We've kind of done that shit before, Jay.
I mean, I have.
Remember that country club gig?
I was about to say, I did go after that guy at the
and we
country
did
club,
that in like the place we should not do it, and we got away with it, and I got booked back there, and it felt fucking great.
I didn't give a shit if I ever walked back in that place again.
Oh, I know.
You know, so I was straight up ready to just like take that guy out to the 18th hole and show him where the flag could go. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
well, so it was the country club, and it starts getting a little late, and everybody's there drinking. It was like, I think it was last year. It was like
It was last year.
a holiday party thing.
It was their member guest tournament.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. And
right.
so you had a bunch of members out there thinking that their shit didn't stink.
Right.
And that they owned you for the time that you were there.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is why I don't like country club gigs.
So he always doesn't like them till the
I don't like country club gigs. I mean, they pay well.
Well,
Yeah.
that's my thing with them. I don't like most of them until the check clears. I'm like, you know what? I
Yeah.
could do another one of these. But that is the positive about country club gigs, though. Depending on which club, because sometimes they do not give a shit if you're eating with everybody, and they're like, what do you want to drink? What do you want to eat? Like, we'll get you whatever. Some places, I'll say Charlotte Country Club will go like, you do not speak to anybody.
Yeah.
You do not talk to anybody.
Yeah.
If you're there for like hours, they will give everyone in front of you like filet mignon, and then they go, there is a room 3 miles away in the back, and you go in there, and there is a sandwich that we made 3 days ago with a rotten tomato on it, and that's what you eat, and a bag of Lay's. And, you're like,
and
okay.
he's not exaggerating.
Like it's
Wow.
very much that way.
That's the thing with those kind of gigs, from our standpoint.
Yeah.
Is that sometimes you're treated great.
Yeah.
And but more often than not, you're treated like a second class citizen, and you're the hired help.
Right. Yeah.
Have y'all ever done Firethorn before?
I just played Firethorn Friday.
I played there one time a couple years back for a thing outside with Randy Paul.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. I feel like I know that name.
Randy Paul.
Yeah. I mean, I heard you say it the first time. I didn't. No, I did Firethorn last July, and they were amazing.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, the guests were super nice.
Yeah.
Everyone came up, and we hung out for 2 hours afterwards.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can tell you a couple other ones that weren't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I will say this about Charlotte Country Club, because I did just throw them under the bus with that. That has been on events where I've been working as when I was working in production.
Okay.
And so usually in those events, someone rented out the country club.
Yeah.
And then those people hired us. Whenever I've done direct stuff for the country club through Key Signature or whatever, it's been really good. But that's not what happened. What happened at this show was this guy came up towards the end of the night, and
His wife came up first.
His wife came up first and asked for Purple Rain.
Well, let's play Purple Rain. I'm like, sure, man, we could do that. Todd, you know Purple Rain? He's like,
Yeah. It was a full band gig, so what we did was just I think it was
was me and you.
Me and Jay knew it, so I was like, everyone else take a break. It was towards the end of the night, so it was like whatever.
so wife tipped us $50 to play
Yes.
Purple Rain.
Oh, wow. Okay.
We played Purple Rain.
And then, so we go, let's play one more song with just me and him, and then we'll get the rest of the band up and finish this out.
Yeah.
So we start doing a Foo Fighters song, and this dude comes right over my shoulder, and I was like, "What? Who is this? Get away!" He starts trying to take my mic.
He was trying to grab the mic.
Oh, wow.
And sing
Yeah.
so while I'm singing, dude, what are you doing? Get back away.
So
Yeah.
at this point, he's drunk. I hate drunk people on my stage.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a patio that we've set up, and I'm trying to get rid of him.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And Jay's like, dude, get away. And so I kind of push him back. He gets off the stage, starts coming back, and tries to grab my mic again. I was like, dude, don't grab my fucking mic.
Yeah.
And he goes away.
He goes away.
Goes and talks to our guitar player who's sitting down in the crowd.
No, it's Travis. It's Travis Motley.
Right.
Travis Motley was
Right.
playing drums with us.
God, no wonder he's not playing with us again.
And
This was
he
the best.
and Travis
He's like, fuck these
he
guys.
talked to him, and then Travis comes up and picks up the $50 tip and takes it back to the guy.
Because the guy was like, I want my tip back.
And I put my horn. I was literally
Yes.
about to go punch him.
Yeah.
Because how much of a douchebag are you?
Yeah.
To take a tip back.
Especially when he was we did exactly what they asked of us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then he comes and tries it. Yeah. So pretty much he put the horn down and just
Todd
started.
had to grab me.
Yeah. Yeah. I had to, yeah. It was good. Oh, dude, we were loading up the U-Haul with all this because it was a massive thing. We had tons of gear, and we were loading up the U-Haul, and they were walking by us. He was like, "You'll never see if you fucking play this show again." I'm like, "I'm booked here next week, dude." Whatever, So anyway, it was. I can't even remember which club that was, but it's funny how sometimes clubs like that.
Palisades. Exactly which one it was on Lake Wiley.
Oh.
Y'all were one of the worst country clubs I ever had to play at, douchebags.
I'm beeping that out because I'm playing there next month.
I'm sure you are.
But I will beep it. We'll
Beep
leave it in
out
there.
that name. Look at my lip. Read them. Palisades.
Oh my gosh.
We're totally cutting to another
A
camera.
life ruiner.
That's why. Oh.
There was a side note on that one. There was a guy. We're sitting in the men's locker room. This dude comes up to me and he goes, "Hey man, where do I know you from?" And I just looked at him. I said, "I don't know." And he says, "You know what? It doesn't fucking matter." And he just walked out.
That's so weird.
And you know where I knew him from? He was a financial advisor at BB&T. So
You're trying to dox so many people right now. You're like, go get this guy who works at BB&T.
I mean, he's a wealth advisor at BB&T, and he's a douchebag. What do you expect?
Floor 3, go get him.
Yeah, man.
Cancel culture. Cancel
Yeah.
Cancel
him.
culture.
We have a comedian on. We can say cancel culture.
So what brought you to Charlotte there, Joy?
Yeah.
What brought you to
No,
Charlotte?
that's
I know you came from Memphis.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Memphis. I went to LSU for college. So I was in Baton Rouge for 4 years. And then I was back in Memphis for like 2 months after I graduated, and I wanted to move. I knew I didn't want to plant roots there just yet, if ever.
I played a gig in Memphis. I know what you mean.
No, I love Memphis. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely adore Memphis. But
It's great if it's your hometown and not a. I understand
yes,
that.
like
I understand that.
when I go back, it's just a different feeling. Like I'm surrounded by family. I feel like I'm 18 again when I
Right.
go there. So I applied for jobs in Houston, Dallas, and Charlotte because I didn't want to go to New Orleans where all my friends were. And I said wherever I got a job first is where I was going to go. So I got a job in Charlotte, and I've been here for 5 years now.
Awesome. Do you like it? Like, do you enjoy it? Do you see
Yeah.
yourself like ready to get the hell out, or?
No, not necessarily. I love Charlotte. I love my job and my friends. So the only way that I think I see myself moving is if a better opportunity comes along. And that's
Right.
that's not going to be in the professional job I have. It would be in stand-up. Like, that's the only reason I would move at this
Right.
point.
Yeah, it's interesting though in a way because like with the way the world is kind of getting smaller, and I mean even formats like this or anything, it's like you almost don't have to be in a hub. Like I mean it's this way with music. I'm not so sure with comedy, but like it's definitely important probably to go and play New York clubs and
Yeah.
and be out in LA and all that stuff. But there's from what you see, there's so many people that are like, you know what, I've worked in LA long enough. I'm just gonna go move to wherever random, and just set up wherever and keep doing that and fly out wherever. I mean, granted, it's definitely different if you're someone like Chappelle or
Yeah.
something. You can
It
be
doesn't
wherever
matter
wanna
where
go.
you are, yeah.
Right. And it's super cool that he's doing what he's doing, but like I feel like that's probably a model that like you can do stuff like that in Charlotte. You can grow more in Charlotte or different areas. Like I've kind of had this 5-year plan kind of thing that's as far as that is better opportunities. And I'm like, I don't like, I've been out to Nashville for work 2 or 3 times where I'm like, it's just getting way better in
Yeah.
Charlotte. Like I'm getting more opportunities and I'm doing more original stuff the way I want to. And there's not somebody, so it's interesting. I think you can still,
Yeah,
grow in a
there's-
city like this.
You absolutely can. And there's pros and cons to wherever you may want to go. But no matter where you decide, whether Chicago, New York, or LA, you're going
Right.
to have to start over.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
And I do see a lot of benefit in staying in Charlotte for the time being because Charlotte, I mean, comedy in general is a much smaller bubble than I think people realize. And I've gotten to meet a lot of amazing comedians who traveled through. And I think creating those connections right now have been super beneficial to me. And there will be a point where I think I'll want to move and start all over. I just don't think it's right now, especially with COVID.
Right.
I mean, from what I've heard, there are so many comedians in LA that are not comedians anymore because there's
Right.
just not work to be done. And I think we're going to see a new kind of realm moving out because all the biggest names are who everyone's going to want to see, and that's who everyone's going to want to book. So
Absolutely.
it's going to be an uphill battle regardless.
Yeah. I mean, that exact problem is something we've talked about. I mean, as soon as like larger venues open back up, as far as, I mean, even here in town, Visualite or Neighborhood, like there's no way that we're, because there's so many tours that stopped,
Yeah.
For anything like that. But is there, so this is something I was going to ask you. So if it's mainly more like sketch stuff when you were younger, correct? As far as like SNL and stuff, what was your SNL cast? What was your favorite cast?
Yeah, I would say the cast that I remember most was when it was like Will Ferrell, Amy Poehler, Tina Fey, Maya Rudolph, Seth Meyers, those guys.
Okay.
Horatio Sands, Jimmy Fallon. I think it was like mid 2000s is where I was like watching it intently.
Right. And it always kind of seems like that's around the time when everybody's favorite cast is when they're like not old enough to drive yet.
Yeah, it was
but old
definitely
enough to stay
my
up
age.
on a like Saturday night, because I was a little bit the same way, but Comedy Central started having like a lot of the 90s reruns. Mm-hmm. And so I would always like the earlier Will Ferrell, and then like a little, I don't think Sandler, but like still Jimmy Fallon. So like that area, that definitely, I think for me it was more before Tina got on. But I really loved Tina a lot. And Tina and Amy on Weekend Update were fantastic.
I liked Sherry O'Terry when she was on there.
Yes.
With Will Ferrell, and they would do the Spartan stuff, the cheerleader sketches.
Yeah, absolutely.
I thought those were really great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those were fantastic. So like when the mentality for setting up like a sketch show. So the only thing that I kind of nerd out a little bit about SNL because I just really like it, but that's the only frame of reference I have for sketch as far as like what the back room looks like and understanding how they build that.
Yeah.
So obviously a sketch group probably doesn't meet up every Tuesday and do a 14-hour writing session would be my guess. Like as far as like when you were doing sketch stuff, how would you guys prep that?
I mean, it was different. I guess I didn't do exactly what they're doing, obviously, and they do things so quickly because they're some of the most talented people in the country.
Well, and they also have the resources to do that.
And I think a lot of the work is in the writing, because when you think about it, that's what all the days leading up to the event are. It's just making sure you have the words down and you memorize those, and then you only do like 2 or 3 dress rehearsals. So I think the planning is the most important part.
Right. Is there with sketch group? Is it very quickly? Is it usually like a kind of always flying blind, or do you go in knowing like if I were to go to a sketch show as a complete layman who has no idea what that is on like a live local level, is that how prepped?
I would say sketch is almost completely prepped, but there's a difference between sketch and improv. I would say because improv, it's almost nothing is planned besides the style or what kind of thing you're going to do. But sketch, they kind of have it down. And no, I think a lot of the groundlings, what they do in Chicago and IO and Second City, all of those, they know pretty much. But also a lot of those people are such strong improvisers that they can change on a dime, or they know each other really well. And I think there's something that's really fun about seeing a show where you can tell things have gone off the rails a little bit, but the people are really close, and it gets it to another level that is really funny.
Right. Well, there's always something about like, or watching people break, but still hold it, and kind of keep going. Yeah, I would. I don't know. It's so great. It's one of those things that like I watch and respect and love it so much, but I also know like I could never do. I would love to at some point in my life have like a decent 5 minutes, do a stand-up thing, and then never do it again, because it would be one of those things like I'd either absolutely love it or completely hate it, or either way. But if I loved it, then it would be like, well, I'm putting this record off and going and doing this now. And that would, obviously be a bad thing to do.
You could just do like all the other failed musicians who wanted to be comedians and just write your funny songs.
Oh, that's exactly what people look forward to when they want to see comedy. It's another guy with a guitar.
Well, hey man, I mean, there's a lot of those.
I don't know. I think people do love that.
I agree.
I mean, I feel it's fun. Like I try to toe a line for writing a funny song. Like we did that one, like the Sorry That I Texted You Last Night.
Yeah, Sorry I Texted You Last Night.
Like,
that's your new funny song.
You Up? Well, what's funny is You Up is the reason that was actually much more serious, but it's the idea that I'm playing with those is I'm writing those to be a little more when you're in that live situation we were talking about and you show up and nobody knows that you're there.
Yeah.
And the obvious thing as a songwriter or as a musician or something, which is something that you don't have at all, is okay, I'll just play a Beatles song. you know, or just play a song that you already know. So, you know, for me to go, I'm actually a songwriter in town. This is what I do. If I do something that is kind of a funny, smart drinking song, or something that's a serious song that might seem a little off-putting or risque, that gets people to kind of pay attention more.
Yeah.
I can do those, set those up, and then later down the line play more of a normal original song. And so that's kind of the hope with those. So I've kind of tested them out a little bit. That's actually a good point. So like musicians can steal all the time.
Yeah.
We can steal it all. Like it is the cardinal sin for what you're in. Like you can't even make a joke that's near.
Yeah,
you know?
People do get really upset and there are some, it's all about the way you twist it, because there are a lot of similar premises out there that are going to be similar, and you shouldn't be arrogant enough to think you're the first and only person to ever hear of this joke. So
Right.
I think a lot of people's first reaction is to be mad at someone. I mean, and if it is on a local level, I think you kind of have a right to be.
Right.
But in general, you can't get mad at someone for thinking the same idea. I think it's what you make different that is going to
Right.
Be you. But yeah, it's and I think some of us, like my Uber joke.
Right.
It's like a lot of people have jokes about Uber, but it's different. And so there's another comedian who's amazing, Tara Brown in Charlotte. She's super sweet, super amazing, and supportive. And so she's headlining a show that I'm doing, and she knows I'm going to do my Uber joke. She is nice enough not to do hers, or I would not do mine if she wanted to do hers. It's kind of like you kind of talk those things out as well. But yeah, you don't want to step on anyone too hard if you kind of know.
Right. No, that's a good point as far as like planning that out. I never thought of that. That's really interesting.
And
sorry, go ahead.
no, that's just what's good about getting to know people kind of well, and you see other people's, and that is obviously when you're close to people or have that kind of local scene, you know what other people's jokes are. But I guess that can't always happen.
True. But I mean, that's so much help. It's so helpful to be part of the community.
Mm-hmm.
Do you ever, so as far as like trying to write, do you ever write with other people or anything like that? Or is it mainly just you that you?
I don't personally. I will send some of the stuff I've written to one of my really close friends and just like see what she thinks. But I don't do a lot of workshops or groups like that.
Gotcha.
I know a lot of people do benefit from that, but I don't know, because I said it's one of my favorite things. I just hone in, and
Right.
even
it's
if
not
someone,
for everybody for sure.
Yeah, and I think when you're in that kind of mode and you care so much, you only want to send it to people that you really value their opinion.
Right. And it's probably more like it's going to be an opinion. They're not going to do a rewrite. They're not going to do anything like that.
Yeah, no, I will accept like any criticism or edits that anyone I send it to might have, but you can bet the person I send it to, like, I'm going to value. I'm not going to just send it to anyone.
Right. Have you ever had moments where, just in speaking with somebody, and probably like, especially like a comedian, where you're like, he's like, are you going to use that in a bit? Can I use that? Or is there anything? Like, I just said, like, there's been times with me, like songwriters, like someone will say something and I also know they're a songwriter and it'll just be a good sentence or something in there. I'm like, do you mind if I take that?
Absolutely. That happens all the time. Or I'll say something and someone will be like, you should make a joke out of that. Or I had a conversation, I think yesterday, where I said, Bryan Cranston is who America wanted Kevin Spacey to be. And I was like, I have to make a joke out of that. That is so good.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah. No, that, okay.
I mean, that's a whole bit at that point. I mean,
Right, exactly.
I mean, you can make that go for a bit.
Yeah, there's some levels there. Now,
Yeah.
You could definitely do that.
That actually leads me to a interesting question. Like, what do you think your comedy style is?
I think deadpan would be, deadpan and just the slow timing pauses. I kind of let people get there. And I think that's my strength. My timing is my strength, and kind of in that sense. But I'm not super physical, and I think that's something I try to work on, my performance, because I do try to make it more like a conversation.
Right.
So yeah, I think that's certainly where I thrive.
I would agree with that after seeing you before.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so I've seen you the two times I've saw you. It was you're right as far as your timing and stuff, because you do a very good job of keeping people engaged.
Yeah.
Without being theatrical.
Mm-hmm.
You know, which is to me completely tough, because I'm the opposite. I am like ball of energy. I try to be as much as possible because that's kind of the most way. I was talking with Jason about this the other day with Omari. I'm like, I don't know how Omari is this great, fantastic singer in town, one of the best frontmen of a band in town, but he just sits in a chair at the front of the stage. And I'm like, and he has everybody wrapped around his finger. I'm like, he is fantastic. Now, granted, a lot of it is because he's super talented singer, but he's a really good front man and MC and knows how, and it's interesting to watch people have their own unique style. But yeah, you do a fantastic job of.
I think there's a lot of power in being comfortable in silence. Because
Absolutely.
not a lot of people are, and
Wow,
it can make you look intimidated or nervous just in doing that. And I'm very comfortable in silence, and I will wait for people to laugh if I know they should be.
Right.
And I think that's benefited me a lot.
You ever give them a...
Yeah. Well, Hulk Hogan.
No, throw that joke out there and wait and see what happens.
Yeah.
Do you have anything lined up as far as any other shows at the moment, or?
No, I mean, I think, I don't know when this is going to air, but as far as December goes, I think everyone's kind of, it's a wait and see mentality. And I think January things will come back a little bit more. I know the 2 shows that I was supposed to do this week, one for Chris Diorio and those guys, and Lauren Ansley with Barely Funny. I think those will both get rescheduled for January. So hopefully I'll have those on the books soon.
Okay. Yeah. And we can, one thing that we're going to do, we're kind of piling on some episodes and stuff and probably looking more for like January releases. Yeah. But one thing we can do is we're going to go back and do intros on these shows like the week before they come out. So might ask you as far as that stuff so we can throw those like right at the top.
No, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. Is what do you mainly post on like Instagram or Twitter or anything like that? What's your, as far as like your social media stuff?
Yeah, those I'll post any show and I'll post content on those. And my Twitter is just Joy Wills. And that's WILLS. I get a lot of Willis. That ain't me. I get it. It makes more sense.
So true story. I was thinking at one point, I was like, is it Joy Wills or is it Joy Willis?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember it. And I think we're friends on Facebook even. And I
No, I always get that. It's just, there's just one I, so it's Joy Wills on Twitter. And then I think Joy Wills 6 on Instagram.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is that the best way to find you and follow you?
Yeah, I would say so for sure.
I mean, did you have 5 other accounts that just didn't pan out?
Joy Wills 1, Joy Wills 2.
Well, I did that because I'm the 6th, but also I'm named after my grandmother who has my same exact name. Like, she is also Joy Wills. So I just like never had a shot at just having my name. Luckily, she doesn't have a Twitter. She's not super active there.
Dang it, Grandma, you took my username?
Yeah, she is on Instagram. I don't know if hers is Joy Wills, though. I think I've tried to get it, but I think it's some like 12-year-old who's only posted twice. Should I like DM her and offer her $20?
You should.
Absolutely, yeah. It's like,
I've got a Barbie dream house for you.
You don't know what I have at stake here. My career is riding on this.
I need it without a number at the end.
Yeah.
people will not be able to find me. Get the username first and then the coveted blue check mark.
Exactly.
This means I'm professional now.
I think that just costs an extra $200.
And what you should do is get her to get verified, then get it from her, then offer the $20.
Yeah, I'll make her put in the legwork.
Yeah, do that. Well, awesome. Is there anything you want to add?
No, I really appreciate having this. This was so fun.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for coming over. This is great. And me picking my nerdy comedian musician questions. And I'm seriously going to figure out what the similarities and differences are. But yeah, thanks so much for coming. This is awesome.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Y'all have got a really great thing going. Y'all are both amazing at what you do and at this too. So that's super cool.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
Appreciate that.
I feel like I have a good voice for radio. Like I can get in there and like I could be your late night DJ or like coming next to you on the Romantic Connection.
You absolutely do. You could even do like a sleep cycle kind of thing.
Oh yeah, I could do a little ASMR.
We'll just get random sound effects like scratching on mics.
This might be how I pay for my saxophone repair that I need to do.
So he had a show last night. He goes to hit a high note, and the link on the back where his sax like holds to the harness or whatever,
it just broke.
So he threw it. He was trying to go like this.
I was trying to go, and my
like
horn
in
went,
the moment.
My horn went, boom, boom.
Ooh.
And I went.
That's not an easy fix.
No.
No, it's a very hard, very difficult fix.
It sounds like you need some absinthe. Really quick.
Yeah, we got to get it. Where's it at?
Let's go do that. Yes, let's go drink absinthe.
Who's got the shots?
Let's do it. Thank you so much.
Thank y'all guys.
Yep. All right, that was our talk with Joy. It was fantastic. We now know Jay wants to get some more absinthe.
Yeah,
We'll make that.
That's great.
Oh man, yeah, she was fantastic. We gotta have her back on, or if we're doing like a live event or something. Like she's hilarious. Make sure to subscribe and share and rate and review and do all that jazz. You know the deal.
Hit that like and subscribe button, man.
Yeah, man.
Pound it.
Just do it.
Right there, you gotta hit it like that.
Just do it. Just do it. Do it. All right, we'll see you next week, everybody. Thanks, everybody. Take care.
Thanks, y'all.